Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Words of Wisdom podcast. As I always say, another episode, another guest, another pleasure it is to be sat here with these amazing people we have on the show. Today, we have the ninja himself, Mr. Isaac Florentine. Isaac is a director and also karate ninja because, I asked my dad, what belt is this guy? My dad goes, "Oh, I don't know. He's just so good." He's done pretty much everything in the movie industry, but he mainly focuses on directing. He's directed over 120 episodes for TV series, and as well as 25 movies, from Hounds of War that's just about to come out to the Undisputed series, the Ninja series, and so on. So, Mr. Isaac, thank you so much for taking time out of your day for coming on the show. And guys, as always, I have my iPad here just for notes. So if I'm ever looking down, that is why.
Hi, Axel. Good to be here. And just so people will know, I know Axel since he was a baby. I mean, we really go
A little.
up that way, really long time.
I remember, I can't remember where it was, but I remember the first time I saw you, I was like, "Dad, who's that?" And my dad's like, "He's a ninja. Be careful." So, Isaac, you're, well, everyone calls you the ninja. You're amazing at karate. You've trained for so many years. What made you start?
I grew up in Israel, and this was early 60s. And I hear of a fighting style of fighting art that is called karate, Japanese fighting art, that you can hit somebody with one strike and really create, I mean, a lot of damage, and that you can jump in the air and kick. And kicking then was something we didn't know what's kicking. It was considered even unfair to kick in a street fight. Uh, I never saw it until I saw a James Bond movie, You Only Live Twice, around 1967, and there, it was shot in Japan, and they brought real valid martial artists, really top notch, into that movie, and there's some karate scenes there, and I remember watching it, and I was so drawn to it. It's the very first movie in my life that I went and I saw it again and again and again, like three times in a matinee. I was then around uh, uh, 9 years old, and I didn't even tell my parents that I went to see the same movie again and again, like three times in a row. I went to a matinee. The only reason why I went was really for the karate scene. So I really wanted to learn it. It was a dream for me. And I achieved the dream a few years later when they opened a karate dojo, or actually a dojo that had judo and karate next to where we lived. And then I was asking my parents to give me the permission to go and train in karate. And my parents totally rejected it. The reason was they were Holocaust survivor, and for them karate meant like boxing, hitting, getting hit. They didn't want me basically to get hit and to get into. For them it was a violent activity. They totally rejected it. They rejected it so much that for me it was now a goal to achieve, to hear the yes from them. And I argued and argued. And then my father said, "Fine, you're a good student in school, continue to be a good student, but I want you to keep on playing the guitar." I was playing the guitar. Never quit playing the guitar. And I said, "I'll never quit." So I still play the guitar, I even play the banjo. And he gave me the permission to go and train. And because it was so hard for me to get that permission, I promised myself that no matter what, I will never quit. Doesn't matter if I'm tired, if I'm bored, if it's cold outside, if it's hot outside, if people are going to the sea or to the movies, I will go and train. And the secret is just really to go and train and to be there every day. And at a certain point, it clicks, and suddenly you understand it from inside, and you become good in it. That's the only secret, just to go and do it and not to quit. And there is a saying like a black belt is a white belt that never quit. That's basically what it is. So this was, I started almost 53 years ago, and I still do it, and I still have the passion for it.
Wow. I can't imagine how good you must be now after 53 years of training. And I love what you said, though. I love how you told yourself that you're just going to do it. If someone is doing something else, if your friends are out here, you're still going to go to the gym, because there's so many distractions nowadays. And I think it's easier than ever to slack off with training, because I mean, you have the phone, you have the
Today,
cinema, you
yes,
have, I don't know,
yes.
something outside. But because I also do martial arts, and I remember my first time ever sparring. I was crapping myself because
What do you
you've
do
done it for
actually?
so long. I'm sure. So I do taekwondo.
What do you train? Taekwondo. It's okay.
Taekwondo,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I remember the first time training, I was scared. I was nervous. Not training, sparring. Sorry, because
yeah.
it's the first time you're actually hitting an opponent. How did you feel the first time you sparred and the first time you competed?
So first of all, I started my first style that I trained was a hard style, Kyokushinkai. It was and 70s karate was all about fighting. We sparred all the time. So and didn't have any shields, no mouthpiece. The only thing we had was a growing piece. You learn basically to protect yourself. And look, sparring is not fighting. You're not there to knock somebody's teeth or whatever. You're just there to learn and to train for fighting. Uh, in my first competition, and I don't see karate as a sport, but the first competition, I was very nervous. I was so nervous that I hit my opponent and got a warning, and again hit my opponent again, and basically by the third time I was disqualified. I didn't acted well under pressure, and there's something in all martial arts that beyond the fighting, that their attributes and the contribution to life is way and beyond fighting. For instance, you take the belt system, right? It's in karate, taekwondo, judo, jiu-jitsu, etc. It's a system that's really started in Japan. And if when you start, if you come your first day to the dojo and you see people that are very high level, like high degree black belts, you look at them and say, I'll never be able to do it. But let's say you start with a white belt, you see a yellow belt, and you say, okay, if I'll train regularly, I can jump from here to here. I can see myself doing it. And then from yellow belt to the next level, So it teaches you, training in martial arts regularly, any martial arts, it teaches you what is called goal settings. And these goal settings you take to any phase that you're doing in your life, whether it's your studies or it's your work. It's how to think sometimes systematically and break things in a very orderly manner, an organized manner, and do them. So this is beyond the fighting. Fighting is fighting, but it's not always about fighting. It's what you get when you train regularly in martial arts. So
Mm.
and there's a difference. Going back to fighting, there's a difference between sparring in the dojo that nobody says ajime and mate, I mean begin, stop, etc. You just spar, and you try new techniques, and the idea is to try new things. You leave the ego outside, and sometimes, like I tell my students, do stupid things, try new things, because if that's the place to try it. If you won't try it now, you will never use them. That's a place, it's like a lab to go and to do experiment. When you compete, that's everybody's looking at you. You're under pressure, and then you really do what really your favorite techniques. By the way, I'm saying it's not a sport, but for youngsters, I think that competition is a good thing because it teaches young people to perform under pressure. People are looking at you within set rules. So you're not some kind of in a sterilic environment. When you come really to life, you know how to act well under pressure.
Amazingly said. Amazingly said. I agree so much with it because, you know, fighting is just one of those things where if you're panicking, if you're too emotional, you're going to get punished. If you hesitate and you overthink, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? You're going to get punished. If you try to push the pace and rush it and force things, you're going to get punished. And I love what you said, how it's so much more than just fighting, and how younger people, especially people who are growing up and everything, they should do it not just to be able to defend yourself, but because of all the mental gain that you gain from it. And I think that it leads perfectly to this next question because, I mean, you've directed so many movies, so many TV series, and I've seen my dad direct movies itself, and man, it looks stressful because you have to control so many things. You do this, no, you do this, no, this one goes like this. How do you deal with the pressure of being a director?
Just before being a director, something about what you said, and it's all about this. Going back to fighting, like you said, if you are too hesitant, too scared, too nervous, basically you let your mind control you. So you have to control your mind and not let basically, or control your emotion and not let your emotion control you. And if you look at the word karate, that until 1936 was written as the Chinese hand. And in 1936, because they tried to canonize it in Japan as a Japanese martial art, it was changed to empty hand. The expression empty comes from the Zen expression mushin no shin, which means mind of no mind. And it's what you see, that round enzo, that round circle, which is the symbol that of Zen Buddhism. And basically, you have to come and react to what's in front of you, and not to come and with some presets. You have to react to what you have. Basically, that's the idea of not be afraid, not be nervous. Of course, you have to come with a plan, but you also have to be reactive to what's in front of you. Now, to go back to the film, the question, for me, when I do a movie, the movie for me is done in pre production, because in pre production, the hardest things for me are two things: is finding location and casting. Casting, it's obvious because the actors that you will have, the faces, the characters, will determine the way, I mean, your heroes, you know? Absolutely. Location is even more important because the location creates the scene. Because when I'm looking for a certain location, I go there and I say, okay, what is my master? You don't do master, but what is my establishing? What is the shot that will start the scene? And because I pre-plan everything, if I read the scene and I think of the first shot, trying to put it in the location that I found or I'm looking for. If I think correctly and I have nailed the first shot, the rest will flow. If my first shot is not right, I will get stuck. It's like scratching the ear with the other hand, you know?
Mm.
So it's very important pre planning. Pre planning is everything. So at the day when you come to set, of course, there's some changes, but you know that you're going from point A to point B. You're not going like this. You might very slightly, but you're going from point A to point B.
Mm, wow. It's like that old saying, the game is won not in the game itself, but in the preparation before the game.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
Especially
love
in movie
that.
making, because then all the departments also get the information that they need. If you need,
Mm,
let's say, you're doing a fight scene, and you need like a fake floor that it's really a mat, but it looks like a floor, breakable stuff. Sometimes you go to a set and it's a complicated set, and you think of the scene, and then you tell the people, "Listen, I'm going to shoot only in this direction." I think we got disconnected. Anyway, you go to
mm,
a place, and before the art department and the producer will freak out from the budget that they have to spend in all of that set, you say, no, no, no. I'm going to shoot only on this direction. Ignore the rest. That's the only direction that we're going to shoot. So again, it goes to
mm,
pre-planning and give the information to all of the departments. And remember that your right hand, I mean, a director is nothing without really the cinematographer. Huh? So the
mm,
best information is to convey to your cinematographer, because
mm,
he is. It's there are two people that are driving there. It's the director and the cinematographer.
mm. Wow. Yeah, there's in film especially, teamwork is everything. If And it must be so hard, though. It must be not so hard, but it must be challenging in itself, communicating your views to the cast, to the cinematographer, matching with his views, matching with the actor's views. Because I know, I just even hearing, you know, my dad talking to different actors, he'll say one thing about, okay, I think this should go like this, blah blah blah, and then the actor might say, oh well, actually, I think it might be better if we did it this way, and then someone else goes, well, maybe no, this is better. How do you communicate and set the foundation?
You have to be Machiavellistic. Basically, you want to go in a certain direction, but it's good to listen and to hear other advices and to see if they really work. Because if you are set on your way and you don't listen or hear, you might lose something. It's good to hear and then to put it within the context that you want to go. Now, sometimes there's ego involved. People say, no, I want to go this way and that way. And you don't want to go into confrontation. You have to be what I say Machiavellistic, kind of to turn them in a shrewd way that they will go your way. You don't want to be a tyrant, but you have to be very assertive about your way, what you want to do. So, yes, sometimes you have to be hard, but
Mm,
many times, or most of the time, you want to listen to hear, but you are the one that makes the final decision. You're the one who makes the final decision.
mm. Wow.
And
I'm
the
hearing.
reason is, and the reason is not because of ego, because sometimes you are the one that sees the whole product, the whole story. Because sometimes I remember I did once a movie with Donald Sutherland, and he had a very good idea. So I repeat, because we got disconnected. I did a movie with Donald Sutherland. He had a good idea, and I thought about it for a second. I said, no, no. But if we're going to do it, we're going to lose the surprise at the end. And he thought about it. Say, yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's like listen, digest. You make the decision. It's your decision, and you have to be as a director very, very, very opinionated.
I'm hearing you saying all of these things, and I'm hearing your story. And I mean, you trained martial arts to such a high level. You know, you could have easily done martial arts in movies as well, because you're skilled, you can do the kicks, you know the timing, you know how to position everything. But instead, you chose to direct, which I find is very interesting. And I'm curious, how did this all start for you, the directing part in particular?
So, uh, first, I don't think I can do martial arts in the movies because there's another element that is involved is stunt work. Because in real martial arts, you try to hit your opponent, and it's basically minimum effort to maximum effect. And in a way, it's exactly the opposite. You want to do maximum effort, basically to many times to telegraph your move, but there is no effect because you don't want to hit somebody, and you have to be in a place to get reaction. And getting reaction, that's stunt work. It has nothing to do with real martial arts, or it's I call it theatrical martial arts or screen fighting, which is a total separate skill by itself. In order to be good in it, you have to be good in martial arts. But then it's not enough. You have to learn how to be a screen fighter, and it's a craft by itself. So now, how did I wanted to become a director? That was not from martial arts movies. This was from westerns. My favorite genre was, still is westerns. So remember, I grew up in the early '60s in tiny little country in Israel, 2.5 million people, country then surrounded by enemies from all over. And my favorite movies were, I mean, there was no television, not even one channel. One channel came way later, no television. So you go to see movies. And I really fell in love with the Western genre. And one day as a child, I saw a movie called Fistful of Dollars. And I saw there's something that I never saw before because the hero looked like a bad guy. It was unshaven, dirty, different kind of a hero, unlike John Wayne. And there was not a lot of talking in the movie, which I really liked it too. There was no love story involved in the movie, which I liked it even better. And but what impressed me is suddenly you see close-ups of the eyes, close-up of the sweating face, close-up of the finger, the hand next to the gun. And I didn't see it in American westerns. I didn't know it's Italian westerns, but I asked my brother. My brother is 8.5 years older than me, and I asked him, who makes the decision? My brother is a movie lover. He knew exactly. He told me, listen, there is a function called a director, and the director makes the decision how it will look. And I said, a director, huh? And I started getting interested in movies and movie making. So the director, as we know, was Sergio Leone. I started watching his movies, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which I watched hundreds of times on the big screen, hundreds of times. And then later, Once Upon a Time in the West, when I saw it first time as a teenager, I didn't like it so much. It felt really slow. When I watched it later again, I said, "Wow, this is a great, great movie," and that movie became like almost a textbook for filmmaking. I think it's a perfect movie. It's like watching an opera. It has a slow pace, but everything there is close to perfect. The composition, the acting, the way it is shot, the way it is acted. I love that movie. So later on, when we have to go to the army at the age 18 for boys for 3 years, girls for 2 years. And I was in the army in a boring position because when I was a kid, I went through a glass door and I hardly see in my right eye. I basically really injured it. So they put me in some kind of a clerical work, and I was really it was very boring. And I came to a conclusion that after I have to find some work that will be interesting, really interesting for me, and otherwise it will be too boring. I had to go to university because when you're a son of Holocaust survivors, you have to go to university. and I chose to study film and television. My parents were not happy about it, but that's the direction that I wanted to go. And my dream was not to do artsy movies, but really to do action movies. Another thing happened that in 1972 I saw Fist of Fury with Bruce Lee, and I basically suddenly realized that you can do a subgenre movie, action and really action martial arts. And I said, wow, here's a opportunity to put together two things that I really love, cinema and martial arts, and to do this type of movies. So this is how it happened.
I think, guys, if there's any action martial art movie, Isaac is the man. Because I find it so interesting. Not only are you interested in film, but you're also very interested in karate and martial arts. How do you find the balance and merge the movie not being too much on the fighting side, but then also including enough fighting?
So, first of all, we serve the story, the script. And if there is no emotional content in the movie, if you don't like the characters and identify with them, then it's like an empty can. It's the fighting is useless. Second, even when you do a fight scene, it has to continue the character development, the story. It's not that you tell a story, stop, let's have a fight, now let's continue. The fight has to continue the character development. Okay, now I want to say something very important, and you know it. A director is just one cog in a big machine, okay? It's just one cog. All the cogs in the machines are as important as the director. From the driver that brings the catering or the actor, to the person that does the coffee, to the producer that brings the money and does the contract, to the actors and to the director. But I want to talk about the most important thing for me, and really it's the cameraman. And I really want to talk about your father, because I met Ross. That was a fine, I think, around 2005, 2006, when went to Bulgaria. He did then a movie with Dolph Lundgren and Ben Cross, and people highly recommended him. They told me, Isaac, that's the cinematographer that you want to work with. And then we worked together in Undisputed II. That was the very first movie that we worked together. And the relationship between a director and a cinematographer, it's like marriage, okay? It's they have to understand each other, and to contribute really to each other's work. The first few days in Undisputed, I didn't know so much how to communicate with Ross, and he didn't know so much how to communicate with me. And after a few days, it totally changed. Suddenly, he totally understood what I wanted to do. And he created the magic because, and I'm saying it, and it's not because Ross is your father. Ross Clarkson is the best action cinematographer in the world. When he takes a camera to his hand, there is a magic. He's the only person that I know that can hold it in his hand with a telelens, follow a grenade throwing, keep the composition intact until the end of it. It's unbelievable how he does it. At a certain point, he knew my style better than I knew my style, It's like it's unbelievable when he takes the camera. It's just magic. And I remember sometimes we worked with other DPs, like the people that did what was it? Some Fast and the Furious, Ericsson Core, or what? I think Clockwork Orange. And they saw the way that Ross works. They were in awe. They were in awe. So it's very important, the relation between the director and the cameraman, and without the cameraman that brings in the shots, they call it your vision, but it's not the director's vision, it's a collaboration, then it's nothing. He knows how not only to shoot a drama nice and to light it and to move the camera fantastic, but when there's a fight scene, and we did some complicated stuff, to be there on time and on timing, and to put a camera in a place that you feel that it's a terrible hit, even though it's not a hit, everybody is safe, it's a special skill that very, very, very few people has that skill. And the best one is Rose Clarkson, the very best one. So, so you know that.
Damn. I mean, I knew he's
My
good.
best works, all my best movies were done with Ross. My best work. Yeah.
Damn. You hear that, Dad? You're getting praise. No, but seriously, I
No,
saw it
it's true.
firsthand in Germany when we were shooting the last Kumite. Everything you're saying, I can really envision it because they were doing fight scenes, they were doing these things, and he knew exactly. All right, what's this kick gonna look like? All right, give me 2 minutes. Light, camera here, ready, roll, play back. Looks perfect,
Yeah,
and I'm just there
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
what?
But you work there also. You work there also with people that we worked before, like Mike Muller. You know, so
Yeah.
it's like it's again, it's a team. When you have a team, it makes things easy. You don't have to learn each other. You don't have to look. When I do a movie with Ross, sometimes people tell us, "Why you're not talking?" I said, "I don't need to talk to him. He knows exactly what I want. Why should we're not talking?" So you don't have to talk.
Wow, that I love hearing stories about you too because my dad even says you're his favorite person to work with because you guys, like you said, you just get along. You don't need to speak. You just look at each other and both of you already know what's going to
Yeah.
happen. So Isaac, I'm hearing all of these things and it makes me wonder what what did you, in your opinion, what was the most stressful movie you had to direct? Maybe it's because of the location, maybe it's the cast, maybe it's whatever it is. What was the most stressful one for you?
Hounds of War.
I haven't seen it yet. My dad's not letting me get any sneak peeks. He's making me wait. But why is it? Why is that the most stressful one?
You go all of the above. It was a hard movie to shoot. It was a hard movie. Every movie is challenging. After we did Ross and I, we went to Arkansas. It was also a hard movie because the production had a lot of problems, and we had to begin to stop it, to begin to stop. But overall, it was not as hard. It was hard in production way. But look, there is no easy movie. There is no such a thing as an easy movie. There is no such a thing as let's do a small shot or a quick shot. There is no quick shot. So every movie is hard one way or another. And when you finish a movie, you say, "Wow, that was hard." So, but sometimes it's harder than hard.
Hmm.
So because it takes
Wow.
the toll of you, the idea really, when you start a movie, you want to finish the day. You want that everything that you planned will be on the screen. And sometimes it's an easy war. Sometimes it's a very hard war, but it's always a war. And it goes back to the saying, it's a war to get a movie. and it's a war to do a movie, so you go to war with your friends. Yeah, and we shot it in Malta. That was a tough location. I mean, it has its own beauty, but it was sometimes
Mm.
very hard to find the location that we needed, and sometimes we totally changed we for the concept. I mean, the concept sometimes instead of shooting in a fancy palace, at the end we went to a place that looked like a war torn zone, like something that used to be a big hotel on the seashore, because we
Mm.
didn't find what we had to find, and we really started to rethinking it all, and totally went 180-degree to the other direction.
How has your preparation or your mindset approaching a movie changed from your first one to now with the experience that you have as well?
So there's nothing like experience than experience. I still try to think of everything before I go. Not a big change, but at a certain point, you also slightly rely on your experience because your experience is very important. And your experience sometimes helps you avoiding mistakes. But basically, it's the same pre-planning. You want to pre-plan. You want to go, and before you go, you know what you're doing. You don't arrive and okay, what are we going to do now? No. Another thing that makes things easier today, until 2013, when we did Ninja Shadow of a Tear, we didn't get any previews. There was not. I mean, I didn't get any previews. We used to go see the choreography, and then, I mean, okay, we're going to take this segment, then we're going to do this segment. In 2013, when we did Ninja Shadow of a Tear, Tim Man, the fight choreographer, came with previews. And it's like, wow. I remember sitting with Ross, and we're looking at the like what he brought us, and it's like he's in a way he's doing our work. It's like, okay, all you have to do is really to copy it and to put it on the big screen. Of course there are some changes and other stuff that but you have a base that already somebody did for you, that you can just take and make it better. But the
Mhm.
base is there, and before there was nothing. You have to really to create something from nothing.
What was the first experience like for you when you worked with someone who had a big name? Were you nervous? Were you like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be fun?" Like what was going through your mind?
No, you are nervous because you're saying, okay, I'm working with somebody that is a big star, or somebody that I used to watch his movies. Uh, let's see first how will be the cooperation. Will he? I mean, how is he working with people? And what I discovered that the really the bigger names, it's the easiest cooperation that you have. It's like. They respect the director. They want to respect the vision that you have for the movie. And I remember Donald Sutton used to call me Governor. What are we doing, Governor? Arlie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket. What are we doing, boss? So let's say Antonio Banderas told me, Isaac, I'm very obedient. He told me that I'm very, very obedient, and he was. So it's like they're there to do a movie. Of course, as actors with experience, they have a lot of stuff to give us contribution. I mean, but you really are sensing first who is the person that you're dealing with. Is he somebody that is comfortable enough in his skin and leaves the ego outside because you don't want any ego, or is somebody that has a problem, is not confidence, and he's got the ego as a shield to protect him, and then it's not fun, and it's making things harder, and at the end the result is not good, because if somebody is comfortable enough to let you really do what you want, you know that the result will be the optimum, because it's what you want and what he can give you. And if somebody is not confident enough and is putting the shield, you know that it will be a struggle to get something, and that something at the end will not be what it should be. You know, it's a compromise. So yeah, it's a struggle. It's not only for the director. Yes, you're the one that is talking, but it's for all the crew. You know, it's to the cinematographer that you might tell him, listen, you might kind of give an extra because of the light or something, move slightly here or fill the light here, you know, because there will be other directions. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and the camera will follow me. Okay, but it will be in the dark. They will not see you, you know, or no, work with us. We're all working together, and sure, I'll do what I have to do, and I'll make sure that the light hits me on the right way, you know, because I also not only want to look good, but good as the character, you know, but also make the movie look good, keep the right composition, you know. So you have and you have. Luckily, most of the people are the nicest people, you know, and the bigger the names, the nicest they are. They nice. I mean, they're really nice. And by the way, this is how they're really big, because their career, the longevity. They want to work with them. You know, so they go from one movie to another, and they become bigger and bigger and bigger. Then they don't let the ego spoil them.
Hmm. Perfect. That makes me ask you though, because you've got so much experience. You've done so many great movies, guys. If you haven't seen the movies Isaac has worked on, my favorite one personally is the Undisputed series and the Ninja one. I've watched them so many times. How do
No,
you?
the Ninja 2 is better than one.
I love
Ah, the
both.
Ninja 2. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. How do you stay grounded, and how do you stop your ego from coming in when you've achieved so much?
Because I don't have an ego. I had it's like you learn to leave the ego outside, you know. It's like you come back, and you come back to your family, and ego is a bad thing. That's why you go to the dojo, to leave the ego outside, you know. There's a difference between confidence and ego, huh? Confidence is you know that you can do something. Ego is like you keep your nose up and whatever. uh, you have to be really grounded. You know, I had good parents that taught me to be a good person, and because whatever they passed really hard life. I remember my father survived Auschwitz, my mother survived Bergen-Belsen. Most of their family members died there. You know, they had really hard life after coming to Israel, and uh, you learn to be humble. I remember as a kid growing in a house of Holocaust surviving parents, even to dream big, it was a luxury. You're not allowed to dream big. So, talking about ego, it's like ego is a bad thing, you know. Uh,
Mm.
then again, you train in martial arts, it keeps your ego low, you know.
I love that. I love what you said so much, because I know so many people who they were doing a really good job, maybe it's in sports, maybe it's in school, whatever it is. And then they start getting a few wins under their belt, and then they change. They completely change. They're no longer the guy that's, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up?" It's now like, "No, I'm better than you. I can beat you. I can beat you. Don't want to talk to you. You get out of my way." And it's just so
Yeah,
sad.
he can beat you today, but not tomorrow. It's the king of the hill, you know, especially
Mm,
in sports. And
mm,
I remember in Hollywood, when I came to the States in 1988, the end of 1988, and I was taking meetings, and people told me, look, the people that you're now here, and people treat you nice because they know that you might go up and you'll see them again when they're on the way down, you know? So, I mean, it's cynical to say it, but maybe it's true, you know?
Hmm. Wow. What was the toughest pill for you to swallow as a director? Like, what was the hardest lesson for you personally to learn that took you the longest to learn?
Lesson or a pill? The pill, let's
Mm,
start with the pill because that's easy. The pill is there's a pill that is subjective and objective. The subjective is you want to do to achieve one thing, but you don't have the tools and the time and the means to achieve it. So that's a hard pill. It's like they say Columbus wanted to reach India, but he arrived to America. Okay? So it's like you didn't do the scene the way you wanted. You didn't get the location because it's not there. And then you work with what you have. So that's a tough pill. Another tough pill is sometimes you don't have the control over the movie. It's, let's say, sometimes you finish shooting and the producers can take the movie and they do at the end what they want to do. So if they're good producers, they will let you go with your vision until the end. And this, I have to give the credit to Boss Davidson and Millennium, that really all the movies that I did with them, Boaz Davidson, that he is a great man and a fantastic filmmaker and an excellent director himself, and an amazing storyteller. And he, as the producer of those movies, he supported the director or the vision of the movie until the very end, you know. So here is a fantastic producer that let the movie at the end be there like you thought what it is, and he's always there to support and really to give a hand to the movie. It was him, and it was Irit Raz, the editor that I worked with her. I did about 18 movies with her. The same thing, you know. And then there are other producers that take the movie, take it away from you, and they do what they want, and it comes up as it falls down, you know, because they don't, usually they take the soul out of the movie. They make it into some kind of a synthetic product. And basically it takes the soul. The movie has a soul. It takes the soul out of the movie. And it's a pity. So that's a hard pill to swallow. It can
mm,
happen. It's very rare, but it happened a few times to me.
mm. Because I feel as the director, as the camera, cinematographer, as the people who really form and picture the movie, I feel like you guys should have the biggest say on what version is released because your vision is different. I mean, not the producer, but the people who release it, at the end of the day, their main priority is what can make me the most money. Whereas with you guys, your main priority is how can we make this story as powerful, as emotional, as amazing as it can be. And sometimes it's that makes the money in return, but some people
Yeah,
don't understand that.
but there's another thing into it, and that's why you have a good producer that supports you, or a good editor that supports you, and as the whip also, because sometimes, as let's say in the beginning as a director, you fall in love with your material. That's why you needed an editor that is objective, and uses what really is needed for the story, and a producer that tells you, listen, you think that this is working, but it's not working. But this is a collaboration. That's what I'm saying. I worked with Boss Davidson as a producer and Irit Raz as an editor, and she was very hard. So also with editor Paul Harb, you know, very hard, you know. And later on, when you gain experience, you're more experienced, you learn not to fall in love with your material. Okay. and to get rid of whatever, all the fat, out, out, out. And sometimes there are shots that you worked so hard to get them, and they're so nice looking, but they stop the story. So it's a problem, you know. But then again, you're the director, and you need that experience, and you have to be hard on yourself to say, okay, I have to serve the story, and again, not my ego. Uh, so that's it. There is always some kind of a balance. Huh? It's your vision, but not your ego,
Mm.
and you have to serve the story.
Mm.
So it goes back again. There's nothing like experience than experience.
Mm. Wow. I'm learning so much. Just as an individual, as working with people, as a, a martial arts student. Wow. I could I could go on asking questions all day. How I'm curious, and I ask this question almost in every episode because I feel as though everyone's different. Everyone's got their own life experiences, and the beauty about that is, well, for me, especially for me, because I'm asking all these questions, is I get to hear so many different sides of it. How do you
Yeah.
deal with criticism and rejection? Because in the movie industry in particular, I mean, you can post the most beautiful picture and you're going to have people say, that's terrible. It should have been like this. It should have been like that. When in reality, there's nothing wrong with it. And also, a lot of people are going to say no to you. No, I don't want you. No, I don't like your idea. No, I don't want to do this with you. How do you deal with it and use it to fuel you to achieve more?
So of course, in the beginning, nobody wants to be rejected and to hear no. Then later, you basically learn to have a skin that say, okay, they don't like it, and you also again try to say, okay, why? What's the reason? If the reason is something that is really objective, you say, okay, let's learn from it and see and improve what I have, you know, make it better, you know. Uh, Sometimes let's say criticism. Sometimes the criticism is the right criticism. You read what was written, or you hear, and you say, okay, they might have a point. It doesn't mean that I agree with them, but they might have a point, and then either it's how you take it. Sometimes you double down and say, no, I'm going to do it this way. Or sometimes, okay, I hear you. Let me think about it. I might improve it. So that's regarding criticism. Regarding rejections with like in meetings and whatever, sometimes what you pitch is not right for them, you know? So maybe it's not right for him or for this company, but it might be okay for another company, you know? I'm usually a gun for hire director. That means I don't really initiate projects, you know. And if I initiated some stuff, it was with Millennium, that was with Boaz, and Boaz really was. We were developing it, but we knew it will happen, you know. So and I find myself that I'm a terrible screenwriter. I'm really bad about it. I know how to direct. If you'll give me something, I know how to direct it. But as a screenwriter, I'm terrible, you know. But so it happened that you have an idea and it's not right for so many companies, but then you meet the other company and say, wow, I like it, I want to do it. And it happened to me. So it's a part of life, getting rejections and dealing with it, and try to deal with it without letting your ego, or not ego, confidence go down. Just to say, okay, they didn't like it. I'm still confident on what I have to do and to continue with it and to modify whatever has to be modified.
Mm.
I just want to add one thing about a picture we talked, the question that you asked me before, if you don't mind. When you do television, for
Go
instance,
for it.
after sometimes you don't even do your cut. But let's say you do your cut. After you do the cut, now it's television is a producer's medium. It goes to the producer, and you don't have to feel really attached to the product. In a movie is a director's medium. You are attached to the product, and there's a difference between work on television and work on a film. Not the work itself is the same work. You pre-plan, you go, you shoot, etc. But in television, many times you don't have to think about casting. Uh, Sometimes you have the regular sets of the series, and they're there. They're constant. It's like you didn't have to do them. They're there. So in a way, it's easier.
Oh, certainly. I remember my dad took me a lot on looking for locations and checking out different locations. And I'm just thinking in my head, man, just imagine like Friends or Big Bang Theory or How I Met Your Mother, where everyone just reuses the same background, the same location. How simple it is. Everyone knows where the camera goes, where the light stand goes, where the boom is going to stand. And on movies, it's like we're going in the forest, and I'm like, we're going to shoot here. And he goes, yep, where are you going to stand? Gonna figure that out now. I'm like, whoa. So I really agree with you. I think
I have to
movies
tell you a
are like,
story. We
go
did
for it, man.
in
Go for
the
it.
first movie, we did a very complicated shot, 360 degrees, and I'm standing with the director's monitor, and I'm looking at the shot, and I'm following the shot. Suddenly, I see somebody in the middle of the shot, and I wanted to start yelling, and then I realized that it was me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can just
Ross,
imagine.
Ross was the DP. He still reminds me that.
Uh, it's
And it
it.
was in the middle of the summer in Boyana, I know Boyana, and that day suddenly the winter decided to come. It was freezing night. Anyway,
I can just picture your reaction, how angry you got, and then the realization that it was you. But it's crazy though, because when you're on set, some people don't realize how wide, like the wide lenses, how much they can capture. I remember there was this one time, there was this person sat all the way in the corner uh, of the room on a chair, and she thought she was good. I thought she was good. And then my dad goes, move. And she's like, "Wait, you can see me? I'm so far away." And he goes, yeah, we can see you. Move.
yeah,
So it just reminded me when you
yeah.
said you were in the frame. I was like,
Either you say move or you say go to makeup or go to wardrobe. It's like, and then they get the idea and they move.
yeah, makeup, please. Oh, I'm in the way. Isaac, I've loved having you on the show. We're almost out of time, so I want to end it with this one question because I feel like this is a great question to end it on. You've done so much, you've achieved so much. Obviously, you have a beautiful family. Your parents have lived the life that they've lived. You've also lived the life that you live. What do you want your legacy to be for your kids, for their kids, and for people who work with you?
Look, the legacy is the kids. It's not the work. If people will remember, like you said, the Undisputed movie or the Ninja, what they contributed to the genre, because I think in those movies, because of everybody involved, like Undisputed 2, it was J.J. Perry. Now he's a big director. Scott Atkins, Michael J. White, Ross was there. And we knew that we're pushing the envelope. We tried to push the envelope in the genre. So, and we try to do it in the Undisputed movies and the Ninja movies. We try to push it. So, if people will remember it, and that contribution, I'll be very happy. Good enough. That's in the professional matter. The other thing is family. Family, my kids are, and my little granddaughter. Hopefully, there will be more grandkids. Uh, Basically, it's the most important thing, biggest achievement of my life. Really, the rest is not important.
That is an amazing way to end the episode. Isaac, thank you so much once again for taking time out of
A
your
pleasure.
day, for waking up early to
Thank
come on
you.
the show. I had an absolute blast.